From the Subaru of Gwinnett Studio, welcome to Celebrating Powerhouse Women. Celebrating Powerhouse Women is proudly presented by NEMA and Sourced.
And hello again, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Celebrating Powerhouse Women. I am your host, Amanda Marmolejo, and this is the series that salutes and recognizes women leaders making an impact in our community. Today, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome back to the show our new partners from Sourced. We have Gabriele Mills, owner and co-founder, alongside Chrissy Strohmeyer, owner and co-founder as well of Sourced. Now, if you caught the previous episode, you might have heard just a little teaser about what they do, but we're going to kind of deep dive into both of their worlds, personally and professionally, on this show. Okay. So for those who might not have listened before, either one of you ladies jump in and give a brief synopsis of what you guys do with Sourced.
Yeah, so we're so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having us. We're really quite honored. Sourced is a back office services company. So we like to say anything in a back office that makes a business leader or a business owner go, ick, I don't want to do it, I don't like it, I don't have time, I don't want to. We do. So we have 5 services that we provide, all in the back office services arena, to be able to help business leaders run their back office, which is accounting, talent acquisition, marketing, human resources, and administrative support. I like to say that we do people and we do processes really well. That's what we know. That's what we love. Everything else is just details. So we have the reliable people and processes that we won't let you down if you hand over your back office to us, either if it's a piece of it or all of it. But that's what we specialize in.
Very nice. And I know that you guys have been successful here within the community for 7 years now, correct?
Yes. And
your office is located in the Peachtree Corners area. Mm-hmm. Who are the types of people that you look to do business with? So you mentioned kind of a broad range there. So who's maybe, if you were to divvy up the percentage of your clients, would you be able to say that 20% of them are CPAs?
It depends
on.
We can. I don't know about percentages, but we can tell you that it depends on the service. So for the construction industry, the builders, remodelers, trades, etc., they tend to lean towards accounting and administrative support. They're just busy people with not a lot in the back office. And there's usually mother, brother, sister, neighbor, best friend who's doing the accounting work, mm-hmm. or the admin work. But for like lawyers and for IT, those tend to go more towards talent acquisition, the full-time jobs. Medical.
We serve everyone. So we're industry agnostic. That's what we say. And it really depends on what side of the business interests them. So there's 2 sides of Sourced. There's the recurring services side that we provide services every single month. Think accounting, think HR.
And think fractional. Yeah. Like you don't have to have a full-time person.
Right. So that model, even though they're different services and that we have slightly different ways of doing it, they all follow a very similar process. And that tends to gravitate toward businesses that are in the $2 to $10 million range, but that could look a gazillion different ways. As Chrissy said, it could be construction or attorneys or retail, things like that. But we've seen everything, which is really fun for us. Uh-huh. On the talent acquisition side, that's where somebody needs a full-time person, so they don't need fractional support, but they need full-time. Again, we get them from all different walks. Those are typically bigger businesses. We tend to see some in the $2 to $10 million range, but we have served companies that are in the hundreds of millions. And every day it's creeping upward and upward and upward, just depending on what it is that they need. So it truly depends. I know I'm sure everyone loves to hear the "it depends" answer, but
I have a question. So like me, we'll use a small business owner, for example, or the only thing that I would need outsourced that I don't do in-house because I do the marketing, etc. I can't stay in the billing, the invoicing, the tax portion, the data. I use QuickBooks and all right, I know that's probably like, oh, QuickBooks is so easy. No, not for me.
No, it's not so easy. When we started the business, we didn't do our own either. Again, we're not accountants, and I used to use Quicken, but that was nothing like QuickBooks. Uh-huh. So we outsourced it first. We learned over time that in order for you to be successful, you have to outsource those things that you don't like.
We outsourced it for ourselves,
right,
while simultaneously trying to figure it out for other people. You got to have a little bit of crazy in you to start a business, and that was our version of it.
So is that example too small?
No, that's exactly how we get clients. It's like, I don't want to do this. I'm sure I can figure it out, but I don't want to take the time out of my day. So we always say, do the things you love and give us the rest of it. The fun of this business, though, I have to tell you, has been, we have clients who've been with us for years. In fact, we tell our new accountants, it's yours to lose. Once they turn over that accounting work to us, likely they're not going to take it back because it's easy. And we actually signed on one of our largest clients in the history of Sourced yesterday.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was a great day.
And it was a really great day. And we said, right now I know it seems mayhem because there was a lot of moving pieces that we have to get a handle on. But where we like to get you is to easy. Mm-hmm. And so we have clients who we've had for years where we've done the fractional work, and now they're moving into, I need the full time. So we're kind of growing with them, and we've seen where they've started years ago and where they are today. Mm-hmm. And I have to tell you, it's just fun. It's fun to know that you were part of that journey.
I bet. And to see them flourish.
Yes.
And that trust, that relationship that you develop is exactly what you said. In order for them to turn over these things that could put them in a vulnerable position, and trust that you and your expertise will execute it without a hiccup.
Yeah. And we take that seriously. I mean, we hire people.
Very seriously.
Yeah, we hire people. We have the 4 values that we live by, and the first one is serve generously. If somewhere in the interview process they don't say, I like to help people, I get filled up when I can help people, they're not our people. We have people who take it seriously, that these are people's business stuff that they're turning over to us, and we need to do a good job. And they do a great job. Like, I'm just more impressed every single day as we've gone through this journey on how good our people work for our clients, and that we develop the mentality that ownership, like, these are your clients. These aren't mine and Gabrielle's and anybody. These are our clients, and we together and
our company too.
Yeah.
Like we say it at least once a week where we're like, this is not our company, Chrissy and I's company. This is all of our companies.
Yes.
Like when you walk in that front door, you sign your contract with us, you're stepping into business ownership. We want you to think like a business owner. We want you to make decisions as a business owner for Sourced, but also for your client too. So when an account manager is speaking with a business owner or a business leader of any kind, they're stepping into that mentality as well, that they're in a position of equal authority because they know stuff too. They may not have the title of entrepreneur, but you don't need one because you know this, and we do, I think, a really good job instilling that confidence in people.
And even if they don't know, another one of our values, I don't mean to keep bringing them up, but is team before self. And you see that all the time. It's like a team of people. You never feel, I think that's why we're able to retain good talent, because they never feel alone. They never feel like, I can't raise my hand and go, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, because 6 people are going to jump in there. And like yesterday we had, just a whole room full of people and our clients too. And it was just fun watching everybody go, I think we need to do this. This is where we can help. Let's put a list together of what we need to do. And it's just fun. It's really, every day is pretty fun. It is pretty fun. Don't you think?
It's very fun.
Yeah. Well, you threw it out there and now you got me curious, because we got 2 of them. So serve generously, team before self. And what are the other 2?
Strive for excellence. So that's where your head is. Don't stop until your head is hitting the ceiling. You go for excellence. That word is very important, very critical. And we go through these with everybody when we onboard, and then we quiz them. Gabrielle knows I like to quiz people. I'll just walk up and go, what's our values? Because I want to know. And then do the right thing, which is really one of my favorites, is that sometimes it's hard to do the right thing. And we look at each other and we challenge each other. What's the right thing? And then you always know the answer. That
one we say, if not every day, every other day. There's always some way that we are presented with a problem or a situation or a circumstance where we're wondering what the answer is, and someone pipes up, well, what's the right thing to do? And that becomes the right answer. And to piggyback on the strive for excellence, we take all of these values very seriously. We love them and we embrace them, and it's a part of our culture. But that strive for excellence piece, we've actually specifically have dove into, and we have a sourced standard of excellence of what does that even mean, and how do you bring that to life? And that's our people are measured on with their performance for their job, but also how they're living to these values and how they're upholding the source standard of excellence too. So there's total transparency in what that even means, how you bring that to life in the company, but also in your own individual role too. So I think we do a really good job at starting from the top and then breaking it down into our individual processes, but pouring into our people and pouring into our clients. And that's where that serve generously comes in. Of it's all cyclical at the end of the day, but that's how we're able to do what we do well, because we understand people, but we also know how to get things done right.
What you pour into people is not only good things, which we love on our people all the time, but anybody walking our halls could tell you that it's honesty. You know, there's sometimes that you have to say to somebody, you know what, that was not good. You know, this is what I saw. I expected this. You know, this is where we should have gone with that or whatever. And that comes back at me too. Gabrielle's really good about that. And I'm like, okay, let me work on that. And that's how we have one of our accounting managers that I was like, people are calling you and they're not getting a hold of you. And that's your reputation. And I don't want that reputation for you. You're our girl. You're our girl that leads this team. But I need you to, to step up.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you what, total turnaround, just like that. And she said, thank you. Thank you for being honest with me, because I didn't know. And if they don't know, they can't do anything about it. So
absolutely.
That's half the fun of it as well.
Mm-hmm. And we do that with everybody too. I mean, there's not one person that gets absolved from the honesty.
Nobody.
We love and encourage on people, but we definitely let them know where they can do better too.
Hey,
Yes.
Yeah.
if you can't take the constructive criticism, then there's no professional or
But it's
personal
not
development.
easy for most people, but we set that expectation right up front that we are going to be honest. And this is why. It's not to be mean or ugly or anything else. It's to help them. It's to help them to get to a better place. And we have some people who can't wait to have other people underneath them so that they can beat them up a little bit, but they learn.
With love.
And with love.
with a very fluffy pink
Pillow.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you're able to do that, you can see what happens with people. It's unbelievable. It's
transformation, yeah.
unbelievable.
It is transformational.
Yes, it is.
The
That's a good
the
word.
growth is quick and very apparent, and it's kind of fun to watch, and people really embrace it too. Maybe not in the moment of getting the criticism.
Oh yeah.
I know I'm not one that used to take criticism very well, but I think as you learn to embrace it, you're like, yeah, and now I'm better for it.
Thank
So
you.
let's keep
Yeah.
going.
Mark Owen says that growth occurs in the uncomfortable zone.
Oh, I like
So-
that.
We've all been there.
Yes, we
Yes.
have.
I am quite curious because these are so profound. I guess, would you say a mission, vision, and statement here that you guys have your 4 pillars,
The values, yeah.
the values of your culture. How did you come up with them? Obviously, they're a derivative of what is important to you personally, maybe spiritually, familially, but to sit down and just kind of hash it out, kind of expand on that process for me, because I'm just curious as a marketer in forming a business, how you establish these.
I actually really love this story, and I'm glad you asked this question, because I don't think we really have a chance to say this a lot of how it came to be. Very early on in our business, it was important to us because we provide people, and that's what we know really well, and that's what we do really well. So we wanted to start right in the beginning. Everybody that worked for us, we would give them Christmas gifts at the end of the year to thank them for what they did during the year. And we would invite them into our office, because some people would work remotely, even back when we started years ago. So we invite them in, we'd give them a gift, we'd thank them for everything that they've done, and then we gave them the floor to give us any feedback that they had. How can we improve? What didn't go well? You tell us, with no judgment, what you think. And everyone knew that they could come prepared with their thoughts if they wanted to, and if they didn't want to share, then they always could pass that information along or whatever. So in doing that year over year, we kind of started hearing the same things.
Yes.
Very positive things that were, gosh, I love your environment, you're so warm, like I love that we're always working together as a team, you're very collaborative. And we heard this for probably 4 or 5 years before we really said, all right, we need to establish what our culture is. And when we decided to establish what our culture was, we just pulled it from what we had heard from other people. And we're
saying all along.
Yes.
I mean, in our business.
A lot of what we have in our company culture is things that we have heard from the very beginning, layered on top of where we want to go. Mm-hmm. So we have always been clear from day one of what the vision of our company is, what we want to see. We may not have total clarity, but we kind of know the direction. So we cast our culture based on our vision to say, as we grow and as we scale, we want these things to be always steadfast. But it really was informed by what people told us we were naturally very good at and what they naturally loved about working with our company and with our clients. And that's, we just put it on paper.
I love it. You know, I don't know if either one of you are Rotarians, but they have, I take it no, because you don't know.
Melanie,
yes.
our sales manager, she just joined.
Wonderful organization.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, download the Rotary app. Free plug for Rotary. They don't pay me for this. And you can literally type in a city, anything, just to find a group near you at whatever time. Mine meets at an atrocious 7:30 a.m. on Tuesdays. But nonetheless, their motto is service above self. So within 1 and 2, pillars 1 and 2, you have serve generously and team before self. So it's kind of a modge podge of that.
I have spoken to Rotary before. I'm very much involved in foster care and have been a foster parent for 10 years. So I sit on boards now and really go deep for foster children. That's my love. Adopted 2 from foster care, actually 3 from foster care. And so service has always been kind of at the heart of what we do, and that's why we're always looking for servant leaders, you know, people who don't mind taking a back seat to make others look good, feel good, you know, feel good about their business or whatever. And so it's funny because every word, when you go to our website on the About Us and you look at the words that are under those headers, it says for service that it brings us joy and there's no greater purpose. There's really, when you think about it, there's no greater purpose in life. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what we were put on the earth to do, is to serve others. And so it's just natural for us. And we always say,
so funny you say that, because I was literally going to just quote that entire thing.
Oh, go ahead, do the whole thing.
No, for that sentence, which you just did. But Chrissy really spearheaded that one. It's always been in our DNA, but to put it right as number one of like, she really crystallized it for us of like, no, we are about service and giving. And we talk all the time about like our secret sauce, whether it's in our process or our people or whatever. With our culture, that is our secret. I don't think anyone really knew that's what made a difference in the through line of all of our people until she brought it to the forefront. And she was like, we're about service, always, bar none, first and foremost.
Shameless plug. What's that website in case anyone listening wants to see?
That would be getsourced.com.
Thank you.
Although the company name is Sourced. So many people sometimes will go, and thank you at Get Sourced. And it's like, it's sourced.
Just sourced.
Just sourced.
Just
italicized and with a period. Right,
I like that. And I like that. What would you call that? A seafoam green? Like what? And
we
why
call
is
it
the period
sourced
orange?
blue.
We call it sourced.
Why is the period orange?
So I'm the branding nerd. I love a good brand. And when I first quit corporate, I was doing branding in my corporate job, but I've always loved it. And we spent 6 months building the business, putting the contracts together, finding the people, doing our processes, and the brand was a big part of that. So we first started with our sourced blue color, which is like a turquoise, light blue, sometimes teal, depending on the light. Like it's very unique
And invigorating.
Yes.
It's like fresh. And
well, and that's why we really liked it. So then we looked for complementing colors. So we got the orange, peach, coral. We never really know what to call it. But we added the period at the end because we wanted it to be sourced. That's it. That's all you need. Like end of sentence. Like for your back office, that's it. That's all the places you got to go. But we liked that it was in a different color.
I do.
And if you look at the O in sourced, there's a little tick mark, which was served 2 purposes at the time. One, it was supposed to look like a check the box of you have all the tasks in your back office that you have to do, that we check the box. But also our first vision statement that we still love, but it's not our vision statement anymore because we outgrew it, was to be the reason our clients had more time. So it was actually a clock.
Oh yeah, it
too.
does look like a clock. The hands, I like that.
Yeah, so
Cool.
that's where it came from, and we liked those colors, and then we have navy to kind of neutralize it out, and white to bring that fresh aspect
It is very
to it.
visually appealing.
Thank you very much.
It's very modern. It's intriguing. It's fun. It's flouncy.
She's got an
can we use that
eye.
word? Flouncy?
I like everything. And I'm like, oh, that looks like, she goes, no, that's terrible.
No.
But she's got an eye like nobody else does. And so that's why I yield to her in terms of branding and what the look and feel is. I like everything, but she'll yield to me. That's what we wanted to put on our business cards, right brain, left brain. She's got the right brain, I got the left brain. Numbers light me up. So I'm a total numbers person.
And I run fast
Away from numbers.
So we actually complement each other because we balance out. I'm not good at what she does. She's not great at what I do. I do, and so
It's a perfect yin
yeah,
and yang
it really
partnership.
is. It really is.
Well, I could talk to you ladies all day about your company, and I'd love to do that over wine or coffee.
Yes.
100% every time.
Yeah, every time. But
I-
can we have
I
wine
accept both.
and coffee?
I
together?
would love
The
that.
wine cellar's almost done. I'm doing a wine cellar in my house,
your
and
house?
it's literally within weeks of being done.
Well, I can't
Come on
wait
over.
for us to crack a bottle.
It's not in our culture, but coffee is brewed throughout the entire day. Everyone subscribes to being a coffee junkie, and we all like wink on the wine after work, you know. So you're in good company.
Awesome. I will say, just before the show, Chrissy said that she drank a pot and a half of coffee. I said I had 3 cups. She said I've had a pot and a half. I was like, a pot?
I'm not that bad, but like it's just it's a comfort thing at this
It is
point.
for me too. I
Yeah.
just love it, and it's habitual. I mean, it's like I just. But I digress. I would love to learn more about you ladies personally and about the actual journey to get to where you are successfully, and kind of deep dive into you individually, if that's okay. But first, we're just going to have a word from our partners.
NEMA is a full-service logistics company that provides trucking, warehousing, and expedited deliveries for the paper machine clothing industry. They offer a full line of services, including delivery within the 48 contiguous states, Canada, and Mexico, plus importing and exporting, air freight forwarding services, foreign trade zone warehousing, and many more services to handle your global logistics needs. NEMA is a proud sponsor of the Celebrating Powerhouse Women podcast series.
We know running a business is hard. There are so many things that need to get done, and you don't have the time, the resources, the experience, or you just don't want to do it yourself. At Sourced, we have your back. Office. We support leaders of companies with all their back office challenges that weigh them down. Whether it's accounting, talent acquisition, administrative support, marketing, or human resources, our team of experts at Sourced will make your life easy and your back office effortless. To see how we can help you, check us out at getsourced.com.
All right, and welcome back. For those of you who are just joining us, I am here in studio with Chrissy Strohmeyer and Gabriele Mills, co-owners and co-founders of Sourced. So before the show, we were learning all about their company and the services that they provide and their culture and kind of how they lead the charge in the world that they're in of business. But I am interested now in learning a little bit more about you personally. And I'm going to lead with Christy because you said something interesting before the break. I don't know if the listeners held on to it like I did, but you mentioned being a foster parent and adopting 3 children. Now, if I may disclose, we are sitting here and while I am amidst partners and co-founders, it's actually a unique dynamic because it's a mother-daughter team. So working together with family is going to be a whole nother topic. Gabrielle is your firstborn, correct?
She is.
So she's the
favorite.
The leader of the
I
pack.
have no favorites.
Yes, she does.
It will forever be you. So share with us a little bit about your journey, A, to parenthood, B, you know, how you came up in business, because you mentioned your tenure in the business world. And I would really like for you, if you're willing, to share the calling that you had to get into fostering children and then furthermore take the leap into the adoption.
Okay. Yeah, officially 2 are adopted, but one is, she's been with me since 14 years old, and she's mine, and she calls me mom, and I adore her. How did I start? Being a mom, I have to tell you, is my greatest thrill. I mean, if I never got to be a mom, that's why I love that Gabrielle's a new mom because there's nothing better than being a mom. I just love it. But so I am, my journey is not an easy one, I think. Divorced, from the 3 girls were born from my first husband. My second husband passed away in 2010, and it's been a journey ever since. And it was once he passed away, fostering, I've always heard kids should know. They're 18 years old, they should know. And so for me, I was like, how do they know if nobody's ever taught them? And especially foster kids who didn't have that stable environment that my kids had, because even though I was divorced, I was remarried, and we were married for 9.5 years, and they consider him, even though he was a stepfather, their father, because he was in the house every single day. Mm-hmm. And I thought, if they don't have the foundation, what do they do? And that's why foster teens had my heart. I started with teens. Ingrid was my first foster daughter. She came with her sister, who ran away after 3.5 weeks.
Did you find her?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I've had well over 50 kids in my home, all ages. So it's been fun and not fun and everything in between. But they still need somebody. They still need somebody. And I have foster children who reach back out to me on Facebook, mm-hmm. and just I have the same phone number. So mm-hmm. they reach back out to me. And I just have a heart for them. I finished my foster journey after 10 years. In January. Don't know if I'll go back at this point. The 2 that I adopted are 7 and 9, so I'm kind of starting all over again. Yeah. And I think they saw a lot while I took a lot of teenagers into my home, and it's time for me to just focus on them. Mm-hmm. But I still serve as the president of Gwinnett Adoptive and Foster Parent Association, so still Wonderful. Supporting other foster parents in that journey.
That's amazing. That speaks, again, to one of your pillars, serve generously. You exude that not only in your professional life, but also personally. Congratulations to you.
It brings me joy.
Yes, I can see that. Your face is lighting up.
She's a fabulous foster mom, too. I've seen transformative movement with the people that have come in, and the kids that have come into her home, and the people that she's mentored. It's really powerful to watch, especially when you don't believe there's any impact. Sometimes kids leave her home or would leave from her home, and you're like, well, we got nowhere on that one. Mm-hmm. But then you'd hear from them a couple years later, and there was a huge impact made. Mm-hmm. You just never know. And it's been very difficult, but also very powerful to watch her go through that journey and really change people's lives.
Mm. And that's why I want to support people, because you don't know. There's been so many people, which one and done. Once you have the first one, you can't do it anymore. And I always tell them, you know more than you think you know. Try a second time and a third time, and then you're hooked. Mm-hmm. It's about 10% success rate though that you have. So you think about 90%, it feels just like a failure. But like Gabrielle says, you don't know what the ripple is. You just love on them as much as you can and try to be there for them and hope that they got something out of it, no matter how long they've learned in their home.
And like you said, kind of prepare them with a toolkit, whether it be soft skills, emotional, anything that they might not have had exposure to or any guidance before being with you. Yeah. And I bet you have a whole slew of friends that good. Well, congratulations. And now, Gabrielle, you too are a mother.
I am a new mom.
A new mom. Congratulations.
The cutest kid ever.
He is so cute.
Oh,
so cute.
We're not biased, though.
No.
Not at all.
How long have you been married?
Been married for going on 5 years.
Very nice. Okay. So your company is 7 years old and you've been married for 5. So you started your journey prior to getting married, yet you're still able to form and have time to create a personal connection and relationship and have a marriage and a child and still build the business. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about the balance and the balls that you have to keep in the air on a daily basis, monthly basis, so on and so forth, because you've got the thriving business, a growing family. How do you remain sane?
I don't. It's an hour by hour basis, and I'm still learning.
She didn't even say day by day.
Yeah, no, it's hour by hour. And I think for me, I have always been very blessed to have so much support in people around me. My husband is absolutely incredible. He's been with me for going on 10 years. So he saw me in my old job. He saw me looking for a franchise, that not working out. He saw when I took the plunge, and he probably thought I was crazy, but he just let me, he didn't drag me down. He just let me do my thing. He saw me through the entire source journey, every good year, every bad year, every moment. And I've had Chrissy right there with me too, and a lot of other people as well. But Chrissy, being a woman, has an interesting perspective on what it means to be a woman in business and what it means to be a mom, and especially a new mom with a very demanding career. So I look to her quite a bit on trying to figure out how to, quote, do all the things, which, by the way, you don't. But she's taught me that it's not day by day, and sometimes it's not hour by hour. It's the very next thing. So she teaches me to, we're going to do this thing, and then we're not going to do this thing anymore. We're just going to do the next thing. And so overall, some days are you're good as a business owner, and some days you're good as a mom, and other days you suck as a business owner, and other days you suck as a mom, and like that's okay. Like it's the life is imperfect and it's messy, and that's where the joy comes from. You just got to embrace it instead of fighting against it.
And I think we'd be remiss in not mentioning Amanda, who is
my
Amanda, who's my second born, and then Vanessa is the third born. But Amanda works for our company, and she has grown significantly. But that kid, she helps out more than, for both of us.
Yeah.
She's very helpful to us. So when life gets way too hard, she's the one who jumps in there and goes, "How can I help? What can I do for you?" or whatever, which is really great.
Yeah, I have spent a lot of time reflecting as being a new mom, and there's not a lot of women that have as demanding as a career as I do. I know a few people, and I lean on them for advice because they've done this longer than I have. And I've just learned that you are who you surround yourself with, and you just do the best that you can. And it doesn't have to look perfect, and it doesn't have to be grand, and your vision can be a lot bigger than what you're able to achieve right now, but that doesn't mean that you're not making progress. Just sometimes the steps are a lot smaller than you want them to be. Mm-hmm. And for someone who is an overachiever by nature, like that's a really hard pill to swallow, but you're still moving forward. You're just moving forward in a different way than you thought, or slower than you thought, but you're still making the progress, and you're able to do all the things. That's not what you expected it would look like, and that's okay.
I've also learned that there are seasons. There's like super fast paced, like accelerated, like, we're drinking from a fire hose. Hold on, we're riding this bull. And then you get those lulls, and then you get the ambiguous times and the growth, etc. So I think it's very important to kind of be present and enjoy that season, albeit turbulent.
I agree.
Or smooth.
Yeah. And I sometimes say, just breathe. Even as a new mom, she was trying to do all the things. And I go, just do what feels right. Throw that all out the window. Just breathe and be there, right?
And here we are now, back to Pillar 4, doing the right thing. You guys live your mission statement.
We do.
Yeah. It is not 100%. Only a culture and business, but obviously within your family.
100%.
And you know more than you think that you know. That's you really do. There's a quote that I have on my whiteboard from Christopher Robin that it's like you're braver than you think.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yes, I'm a big Winnie the Pooh fan. But you know more than you think you do. Just do something. Just try it. And if it doesn't work, okay. As long as nobody's dead, everything else can be fixed, right?
Yes. I'm going to use that. Did anybody die?
Right.
Then we're good.
We
got this.
There's nothing you can't fix. There's really nothing you can't fix.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a controversial question.
Okay.
And just curious, because I myself have a sister and a mother who is Latin, and our dynamic is fiery. Okay. So you work with your mother and your sister. Mm-hmm. How are you guys able to manage that relationship? Because obviously you keep it super professional as you address your mom as Chrissy. You call each other by each other's first names, and I'm sure that Amanda does the same. Mm-hmm. But how are you able to present a united front to your employees and not have anybody think that there's any favoritism, and how do you guys just remain sane in each other's company in that setting? Because there are a lot of pressures. So I'm just curious, like, how that cohesion is.
It's a lot of people are very fascinated by that dynamic, which fascinates me because it comes so naturally to us. But it really comes down to respect, and
yes.
We, all three of us, but particularly the two of us, since we work so closely and have the most difficult conversations within the company, we don't let our personal lives come into business and vice versa. Of course, there's a natural osmosis that happens, but when we're working, when the sun's up, Like, we are equal partners. We have equal gifts. Either one might be better at something than another, but our opinions are both valued. We both hear each other. Criticism comes from a loving place. It's the ideas that we have come from a place of that we both understand mutually and respect each other mutually, that we're strong, career-driven women that are very smart and sharp and can figure things out, and there's no competition. We don't attempt to have competition. Chrissy's very good about, even though I'm her daughter, it's very much an equal dynamic, and I respect her for what she knows that I don't know, and I still listen. But when we're in business, we're in business. Like, truly, we are coworkers. And Amanda's very much that same way. And so even the people in our organization, they kind of remind us that we're family, but we kind of forget.
Yes.
Because we're like, no, like, we have our jobs and we have what we do, and we speak very professionally to one another. And you couldn't tell if we didn't say it.
Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes family stuff comes in, but also not really. So it's just, that's kind of how we have fallen into it. And I guess we're all just really good at compartmentalizing that.
Yeah. We, people are always amazed because I'll go, I need to run that by Gabrielle. They're like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, we do everything. Like, I don't make a decision without her, and I don't think she makes a big decision. If we're going some way, we always make those together. Mm-hmm. And I think we're always, respect is definitely the word, respecting what each other knows. And there's some times where, you hit that wall, and I love this. This is a Gabrielleism, but she started to go, is that the hill you're willing to die on? And so if I answer, yep, it is, then she goes, okay. And she'll back off. But there's sometimes I'll ask her the same question.
We've learned from hours and hours of going back and forth. And then we're like, you know what? Let's just cut this off. If that's the hill, then I'm just not going to take that hill.
And so that's when we back off, because one of us is usually ahead of the other in what they want. And there's a lot of times I'm like, yep, no, that's not the hill I want to die on. I'll take one of them down the road, but this one I'm not going to do. And I think even I learn from my girls, which are good. And actually the people that I work with, when they can tell me even like, hey, that wasn't cool. Like, Gabrielle will go, that came off a little strong. And I'll go, oh, well, I'm just really frustrated or whatever. And she goes, we couldn't tell that. We could tell your frustration, but we couldn't tell. It didn't land right. Mm-hmm. This is what we heard. Mm-hmm. And that it taught me that it's like, okay, I need to be more respectful of maybe people aren't hearing me the way I'm hearing in my head, And so we're constantly teaching each other.
We're constantly growing from one another, and we have always been very similar. We say that we're 80% the exact same person, and the 20% is things that Chrissy's good at that I absolutely hate, and things that I'm good at that she absolutely hates. So it works really well because we can be either one really good person or two really good people. But when it comes to the things we're not good at, we kind of just throw it over the fence. We're like, you do it.
We always say, not it.
Yeah.
We touch our nose and not it. And we have a new director of corporate operations. His name's Greg Davis. He's fantastic. Really one of the best hires we've had. And so we're in a meeting, and now there's things like taxes and insurance or whatever, and we both go, not it. And he goes, oh, I keep forgetting that. So he now gets all the stuff. Yeah. He's like, oh, man.
But I think it's just, for anybody. I look at husband and wives, and I wonder the same question that people ask Chrissy and I about mother-daughter. I'm like, how do you do that? How do you spend every waking moment, and how do you have that dynamic? But I think people are people, and if you approach people with respect and understanding and empathy and a desire to be on the same page and a shared goal, then all of the other stuff just becomes details. Like, there's always going to be those rough moments, and the true growth happens in those conversations. Mm-hmm. We've had plenty of hours of those conversations, but if we never had them, I don't know if I would be as good as I am today, and I don't know if Chrissy and I would have the same dynamic that we have today. I think it's all a beautiful thing at the end of it, even if it's uncomfortable during. But I think that can be applied to anybody.
If Absolutely. You went 10 or 20 years ago and said we were going to be in business, I always tell people this, that I wouldn't have believed it would have been as good as it is. I mean, we have really very few conflicts. I mean, it is But she would have stabbed you if you had said you're going into business with your mom, because
That'd be a hell no
she,
for me.
she's always been very, very independent. And so the last thing she would want to do is to go in business with her mom. But it just works. And I'm surprised it works as well as it does. And I enjoy it. love
I
being in
wouldn't do it
business
with
you.
anybody else.
I wouldn't either.
You guys both talked about personal, professional, spiritual, emotional development. What are some things that you do personally or even with your teams in order to stay sharp, things that are relevant to your world, or just to kind of, continue that path of being a lifelong learner? I myself turned to podcasts because with age, I didn't have enough time to sit down and read a literal book like I used to. So I am an information seeker through podcasting. I'm not like a true crime, person. So that's one of my main sources. And then also things like, like strength finders, EQ, things like that. What are some things that you guys do?
So I'm a huge person of professional development. Absolutely love it. I think Chrissy is as well.
Yes.
Being a new mom and a business owner, I have no free time. So unless I get up very early in the morning, which I'm still striving to do, I used to do gratitude every day. I would do some level of learning, whether if it was a book or a YouTube video or a podcast or something. And then I would do something spiritual or devotional. I would listen to a sermon or something. And I would read a lot, podcast a lot too. I don't have time for any of those things anymore. So the way that I stay sharp is I listen to other people, and I surround myself with people that I really respect and I admire, and I know that they have gifts that I don't have. And I sit back and I try to learn from them, and I ask them questions, and I challenge them as to why they believe certain things and why they are making that decision and what made them come to that decision. And I think that's for me, but it's also for them too, because the people I surround myself with are a lot of our team members that we're working on. So I'm constantly challenging them to be better, but I'm learning from them all the time, and we have a lot of our clients that, sure, they may not be good at accounting or hiring people, but they're good at what they do, and it's fascinating. And
Yes.
I think you just have to open your ears and be aware that learning is everywhere. Like, learning doesn't have to be necessarily getting up in the morning and reading the thing and doing the podcast. And if you have time for that, huge advocate, huge. But if you don't, just trying to find learning everywhere. And people are the best place to learn from, because they've got unique experiences and takes and perspectives. And that's really all that you need at the end of the day if you're just open to it.
Yeah, we've been reading a lot more. And within our company, we're now doing book clubs on different books. So, and learning from each other. Like, we'll start highlighting the book and then talking about why we highlighted different things. And then what we also do for our business is we do something called Think Week. Every January, it's coming up January 20th through the 29th, and we go away and really focus on the strategy of our business, what we want to accomplish in the next year. So it's always in January.
As a team or just you guys?
As our leadership team.
It
Nice.
used to be the two of us, and now as we've grown, we're bringing more of our leadership team along, and we literally just dissect the whole business, every form and facet of the business. What are we doing well? What do we need improvement on? And then within the year, we have responsibilities where sometimes we talk it through and we go, okay, this is the direction we want to go. Then somebody takes that on as an activity. And so we're always looking to improve the business. We're always working on the strategic as well as the day-to-day, which is the part we like the best, is really the fun part.
The strategic stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, but Think Week is really fun for us, and I encourage anyone that is in business at all to exit the office for a period of time. Don't pick up your phone or your email. Come prepared with what you want to think about, what you need to solve, and go and strategize that outside of the office. And what we've always done since day one is we pick everything apart. We tease it out. We go back and forth. We agree. We bring whiteboards and Post-its, and we erase things, and we try in a direction, and then we're like, you know what? No, and then we redo it again. And that has been such a benefit to our company. But also, now that we're having other people join us, starting to join us from the last one we did, and now we have even more people this time, it's going to be so much fun, because can you imagine what you're going to learn from the other people that you can just absorb and be like, it's team building on the the best, most productive level possible, and you're still getting stuff done.
It's 10 to 12 hours scheduled, and sometimes it goes over that. And Maureen, who's our COO, bless her heart, she's been with us since the very beginning, before we even opened our doors. When she came the first year, she was like, how much longer? And I'm like, probably about an hour. She goes, it's 1 a.m. And I'm like, everybody.
I'll brew a pot of coffee.
That's right. Everybody jokes because they're like, oh, yeah, Think Week. They're going to drink and go on the lake or whatever. And we don't even go outside. We don't even get out of our pajamas.
I don't even know if we look out the window.
Yes, we're just, it is that intense, but it's
invigorating. It's fun. It's like for the right person.
Yeah.
Like we're strategy people, and we choose to surround ourselves with people that also have that kind of vision and can teach us things. So that brings energy to those types of people, which is why we always love it. I'm sure for a person that is more task oriented and likes to check off the box of to-dos, and they would find this excruciating.
And credit goes to our third partner. We'd be remiss without saying we have a third partner.
Who?
The man upstairs,
Of
Jesus,
course.
and God is our
Number one.
third partner. And when in our journey, he's been an important part of that journey, because there's been times where Gabrielle leads up sales, I lead up operations, but we both bleed into, I love doing sales, and she jumps into operations, and we just kind of help each other out wherever possible. But when there's been times where it's like, don't have a lot of prospects, it's like, okay, I'm just going to pray and believe that the Lord wants good things, because we're doing good things for people.
Absolutely.
And he's really the key. And we, as part of our business plan, is to give back 10% on a monthly basis. When we have a month where it's profitable and it's all good, we will give 10% to the various charities that we have been important to us. And we're going to expand this out to our team of people. We really haven't, we've talked about getting them involved, but this year will be the year that perhaps we do presentations of charitable organizations. But it's really important to tithe for our organization, and we've done it since the beginning, since the very beginning.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point you bring up, because one, we couldn't do this without our faith. There's no way, none whatsoever. The very origin story is God telling me that this is what I was meant to do, and I didn't know what he meant at the time, but even when times got tough, I knew that this is for something. So he's been woven into, sourced in our history, and every single day that we do, we're operating all the time. But also, like, it's also about our people too. Like it's there's always people surrounding you that are on the boat with you. There's always people that are in support of you and that are praying for you or giving you ideas or giving you helpful tools or something. Like it's fun when you open your eyes and you see it, how many people are giving you these little nuggets, so you're never really doing it on your own. Whether you have a strong faith or not, a lot of people think, and it's true, entrepreneurship can feel very lonely, and being at the top can feel very lonely, but only if you make it so. If you choose to surround yourself with people and be embracing of those people to support you, and you accept their love and advice and what they're willing to give you, you never really do feel alone, because you actually have a lot of people with you. So.
Yeah. I love that. It's so funny that you shared that, because I had right here, were there any clear signs for you to make the leap into launching Source? And you just shared that the clear sign was that it was on your heart.
Honest to God, I heard God's voice the first time I've ever heard it and the last time I've ever heard it. Honestly, it's kind of weird for me to even say out loud, because it makes me sound kind of kooky.
No, it's the Holy Spirit.
It really is.
Ma'am. Yes,
but
ma'am.
it was an audible voice, and we call it the toothbrush story, because I was brushing my teeth, and that's when he decided to speak to me. But yeah, I was afraid of having faith in business at first for a long time, because I was in the education arena. You don't talk about business and spirituality in the same conversation. When you go into the working world, that's what you have been told, and then
Politics
no one
and
talks
religion.
about it. I remember being in the first 6 months of running this business, I was in several meetings where they started with prayer, and then I was in several coffees or breakfast meetings where the one-on-one person that I was speaking with was so open about their faith. They prayed over our meal, and I was just like, what? Like, you don't do that. So it took me many years to become braver of like, yes, this is a foundation for us, and to be very open and speak to it. It takes courage when you're groomed otherwise.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can't do it without our faith. We just can't.
And it's been fun to watch your journey, because in the early times, the early years, she go, Mom, you can't do that. You know, it wasn't Chrissy, it was Mom, you can't do that. And I'm like, oh, yes, I can. Because, I mean, I'm going to give all credit to where credit is due. And so, and we've watched such amazing things happen when you lean on the Lord. You know, it has been spectacular, nothing shy of spectacular. And even to see her faith journey and her growth, it has been, I mean, just been an honor to be part of that journey. So it's,
I was going to say, I bet you're proud. I know you're proud
am.
of your mom as well, but it's a different pride because this is your, I don't want to say child, but your daughter, and seeing her flourish and seeing her just, you know, empower others and build this business nuts and bolts to where it's at today. I can only imagine that feeling of joy in your heart.
It's I found when you align yourself with what God wants for your life, that's what makes all the difference. So when we started this business, I mean, it'd be fun to just do it and let's try to do it. But my prayer is for her to understand what I understood about faith, and that you live it out loud, and that's what you do. And so I was like, and I told her, I mean, if you remember in the early years, I go, when this makes it, you're going to see that both of us looked at each other when we first started and go, what do you want to do? And we're like, I don't know. We don't know how to do anything, you know, kind of thing. And I go, when this makes it, you will see God's hand. You will see that this is God's hand. When long ago, when I went into sales, it was my first time ever doing sales, and I went from, you know, commission only low, they gave me a couple of clients, to multi-million dollars in sales that I did in the call center arena within years. It was crazy. The money just came in. I was making a boatload of money. As I was going through divorce, as I was in deep depression, as all these things were taking place, and there was only one through line, it was the Lord. And as I made money, I sent money out, and I kept sending money out. And that kind of taught me that God was on that journey. So to see Gabrielle see it, you know, in this journey, because I'm like, if this works, this is God. This is not me. This is not you. We don't even know what we're doing. This is God. And and she sees it and speaks it out loud now. And probably that's the most proud of her I am, that she speaks it out loud, because I think it's really important to do so, to give credit where credit is due.
Absolutely. There have been.
You're gonna make me. Am I gonna make you cry? I love you. You're awesome. You're awesome.
Thanks, Mom.
She's awesome. She's really
You're
awesome.
awesome, too.
Thank you, love.
This is a table of awesome
I
sauce.
know. And you know, funny, it's like, it's not just for this. It's just,
No,
this
this
is how
is all
we
the
are.
time.
It is a thrill. It is an honor. And it is a lifelong dream to be able to do this, with my daughters. There aren't words. There aren't words to describe how good that feels.
I completely agree, but it is not without us challenging one another too.
Oh, yes.
Like, I don't want to. We're having like a nice fluffy moment here, and it's
Mush,
just
mush.
so mushy, and I love it. But for the people listening, that it's like, that's not the relationship that I have with my business partner, whoever. I don't want to also forget that we challenge each other, and we are not afraid of picking decisions apart and saying, hey, I don't agree with that, and this is what I would do, and sometimes duking it out and respectfully, but we're better off that way. And that's how we've gotten as I like to think that we're pretty dang good at this point at what we do, but we wouldn't have made it there if we didn't constantly challenge each other and respect the challenge too. We don't take it as a trying to cut the other person down.
It's never personal.
Never personal, but we know success can't happen if we don't get serious about it. Right. So like we take that really seriously, and we don't lead with the fluff with one another. We love on each other a lot, but we will also walk into each other's offices and being like, you know, that meeting didn't go so well. Here's what I would have done, or maybe we should have done it this way, or, you know, whatever the situation is. And then there's times where we walk into each other's offices like, just love you.
And there's some times where it's like, okay, I'm calling you as your mom, not as your business partner. And sometimes she'll go like, I need to talk to my mom.
Aw.
And so we have those moments too. And now it's becoming a legacy. So I have a 7 and 9-year-old, I said, and little Jayla, she's 7. I met her when she was newborn in the courthouse, and then she came to me 4 weeks later. And she's a little Chrissy. And she's going to run Source. You ask them what services we offer, and she can tell you.
Oh my
and
goodness.
Yeah, they both of them, Jayla and Maya, they love to come to the office, see what we do, and we tell her that someday she will run the company. Are you prepared? And this is what you have to do.
But we also tell her she has to earn it.
Of
Yes,
course,
she does.
Yeah. You're not just going to pass the baton. That's
No.
interesting that you use the word legacy, and I'm surprised at myself. I didn't think of that before, because you truly have 3 generations working within you. So, and I forgot to mention that Chrissy's a mom of all girls, by the way.
Yes.
So this is like a 100% woman-owned business, except for the Jesus portion. Otherwise,
Right.
it is a
And Greg.
100% business.
And Greg.
And
Greg's in there.
Greg's in the mix.
We call the men's bathroom the man cave, his man cave, because
He's the only guy.
He's the only guy.
Hey,
Well, we had
he has
Tony.
his own
We
personal
had Tony,
bathroom.
but,
Who
yeah.
was the gentleman who came on? I think when you came on Al's show, I think he was your BD guy once upon a time.
Yes, that was David. He was our first W-2 out the gate, and he did a phenomenal job helping with business development at the time.
I knew I'd met one gentleman that was on your
Yes,
team.
we have them.
We've had a few.
We do
yes.
not say no to them because they're very smart, and we love them while they're here. They, people just grow and move on, and he found a really great opportunity. And sometimes there's 2 or 3 of them in the organization, but today there's just Greg. So
Greg has his own bathroom.
He does.
He has his
Love
own
it.
bathroom.
I know. I didn't think about
Yeah,
that.
it's his man cave.
The man's-
That's where he
when
goes
you
to
can't
escape
find
all
Greg,
of us.
yeah, he's in the bathroom.
There's a lot of estrogen in there.
There is a lot of estrogen.
Ladies, again, I can't thank you enough for wanting to partner with us on this series.
We're
And-
honored. We're really, truly honored.
Thank you very much in helping amplify the voice of women that are worth celebrating and just kind of paving the way to success, but being raw about it. You guys are able to show your vulnerabilities. You're able to show overcoming obstacles. And I think that that's really something that there's a lack of as far as public information for business owners or just for young people as a whole. So thank you for being 100% with us, and thank you for sharing all of your triumphs and your challenges as well. I did just want to ask you before we go, what is the reason that you're enthusiastic about partnering with us for this series?
Oh my gosh, it was a no-brainer. We were so flattered that we were even thought about. We have always, after we got through the flattery of like, hell yes, because you think that of us, we have always wanted to pour into other people, right?
Yeah.
Serve generously. And we tend to gravitate toward strong women who, especially strong women who have a dream and a vision. And we want to support that and encourage that as much as we can, as often as we can. We live that every single day with our pretty much women team, and we have a big vision ourselves, and it would be remiss if we didn't give back in any way that we possibly could to people that are aspiring to do this, are currently doing this, and celebrating them. So it's an honor just to be even in the same breath.
And
Oh,
even
thank you.
to springboard off of that, it's lifting people up. This is a amazing platform to lift people up and to show the world people that maybe they wouldn't get to know.
Yeah.
And so that when Mike talked with us about it, it was like, wow, this is an opportunity to be able to lift people up and to get the message out about their stories, because you learn, like we said, you learn
So
from other
much,
people's
yeah.
stories. So yeah, it took us like 1.5 seconds to go, yes, absolutely.
I don't even think that Mike got his full sentence out before we were like, yeah.
I was going to add, I did not even get the question out completely. And Gabby said, I was like, absolutely. And Chrissy, yeah.
Well, we are delighted. I've always admired you, Gabrielle, especially as a young professional woman. And, we've crossed paths in the marketplace. Chrissy, I hadn't had a chance to get to know you up until this point in depth. But it's just going to be a fantastic journey. And I look forward to the nominations of women that you have within your sphere of influence that we can highlight and we can amplify their stories. I do just want to give you the chance to share a final thought or anything that you'd like to share with our audience before we depart.
Well, I just want to be able to say thank you. Thank you for asking us. Thank you for this opportunity, and it is an opportunity for us. And if I was ever to lead leave anybody with any advice, it's the dream on, just dream big. And all the powerhouse women out there, I hope that they are constantly dreaming and dreaming big and making the world a better place, because that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
God, how do I follow that? Jeez. What I would say for people that are aspiring to pour into themselves, into their careers and in their lives, I would say to start with their vision of what they want, even if it's not clear, and go after that. That will inform your day-to-day, but also to not fear what the day-to-day looks like. People don't have it all together. We've made mistakes every single day.
So many mistakes.
So many. Sometimes the same mistake. We try not to make the same mistake twice, but we're human. But I think that stops a lot of people from doing something, whether they're experienced at it or not. But failure or mistakes, whatever you want to call missteps, obstacles, are just a part of the journey. Everyone's got them. Susie in our organization said a really great phrase the other day. She goes, "Oh, you want to knock me down again? Okay, I'll just stand right back up." And I'm like, that is awesome. And she didn't even know what she said when she said it, but I really embrace that, and I really think that's really good advice for anybody of just try to knock me down, give it your best shot, because I'm just going to get right back up. And I think that's the mentality any powerhouse person, aspiring or otherwise, can live by.
Definitely perseverance is a common theme.
Yes, ma'am.
And something that you guys emphasized. Well, again, the website for those who heard about Sourced and want to learn more is
getsourced.com.
Getsourced.com. Ladies, thank you for joining us. Remember that you can listen to this series live every Friday at 11:30 a.m. on businessradiox.com by selecting the Gwinnett Studio. Please subscribe to this series if you find value in it. We would love for you to rate and review. The shows are available wherever you find your podcasts. I like to listen on iTunes. Be sure to subscribe. And again, I'm your host, Amanda Marmolejo, and this has been Celebrating Powerhouse Women on Business Radio X.